In the news today, pastor killed in West Coast Berbice head-on collision. News outlets understands that a speeding minibus crashed into Farley, who was on his motorcycle. The pastor was flung from the motorcycle, which was broken into pieces, while the minibus came to a halt after crashing into an electrical pole. Spanish woman raped, sodomized and battered as neighbor rushed to get help. I felt as if my life was leaving my body, but I could not leave my 3 children motherless, so I kept fighting to survive. I had to escape alive. Those were the words of a Venezuelan woman, age 30, who was on Wednesday last, raped, sodomized, and battered, as neighbors watched on in horror. Helpless, weak, traumatized and in severe pain, she called out for help but patrol ranks tossed her clothes at her. As she sat down with news outlets' reporters translator yesterday to tell her story, her eyes filled with tears as she recounted being lured into a trap by a man she now calls a monster. The woman said that she was standing not too far from a club located at the corner of Robb and Cummings Street, Georgetown, smoking a cigarette. Around 10:30 p.m., she said an acquaintance pulled up beside her in a small gray car. She detailed that she had met him a few times before in the club, and noted that he seemed to be a nice person. We exchanged greetings and he offered me a job, sex work, she said. I agreed, she continued, and he invited me to his house. I was a bit skeptical to go at first, but he insisted and I entered the car and left with him. The woman said that they did not chat much during the journey, but he had tried to touch her while driving. I told him, no, that is not my job. She started to become a bit suspicious. Nevertheless, she brushed her feelings aside since, based on previous conversations, he presented himself as a decent individual. He said that he was a bachelor with no kids, and his family lived overseas. She did not know where they were heading, but recalled entering a street with some heavy-duty machines parked at the entrance. There were also trees there as well, it looked like some grape trees, she described. They drove for a while, she related, and then arrived at his house. His yard was really big, and there were some construction materials, blocks, cement, etc., in front of his white, wooden house. She explained that she entered and sat down in a chair, where she lit another cigarette to smoke, while he went to prepare his room. He reportedly returned shortly after and told her to accompany him. She said she followed, but while entering the room, noticed 2 knives placed on a table and became a bit nervous. He told me to get naked, but before doing so, I requested my payment and he gave $10,000, recounted the woman. She mentioned him paying her, after which she undressed and told him to lie down, to which he responded, no, you lie down on the bed and take off your bra. The woman said she complied and they began to have sex. During the act, however, she recalled him becoming sadistic towards her. The condom broke and I told him stop. He asked, why? And I said I only have 1 more condom, and if that break we cannot continue, I will have to leave. The woman said he agreed and they continued for a while, but that things started to turn ugly. She recalled being tossed on the bed while he took off the condom and went outside in a rage. She became scared, she recounted, and sat up on the bed where she attempted to pick up her clothes, but the man returned with a knife. He grabbed me by the hair, placed the knife to my neck and said, you ain't leaving here till I done, you can't take my money and ain't do what I tell you. The man began raping and sodomizing her brutally at knife point, she recalled. He pushed me to my knees and forced his penis into my mouth. As the woman broke down in tears, she recalled that he told her, if you bite my penis, I will stab you in the neck. He repeatedly raped me until I became weak and I couldn't take it anymore. She pleaded with him to stop, she said, but he slapped her and told her to shut up. I begged and I begged, I said I cannot go on anymore, I need water, to continue, I am thirsty. It was at this point, the woman said, he stopped and left to get the water. She recalled grabbing her clothes soon after and using her fist to punch through the windows in his bedroom. With clothes in her hands, she jumped through and fell on her back, the woman recalled. I got up and ran, but he came after me with the knife, held me by my hair and dragged me through his yard, she said in tears. The woman relayed that he attempted to stab her, but that she held onto the knife. Her hands were slashed along with other parts of her body. She recalled that as she battled for survival, her attacker said these words, I will kill you. You will be my 24th victim. I have done this many times before, and you will be no different. She begged him, she said, please don't kill me. I have my children, please don't. The man reportedly continued to slash her while saying, I don't like Spanish women and I will wipe them out. Somehow, she said, the knife fell out of his hands and he resorted to crushing her head with a concrete block that was nearby. I couldn't give up. I kept on fighting and managed to dodge the blow, and ran a short distance away before he attacked me again. This time, the man jumped on top of her and began pounding away mercilessly, she told reporters. Her screams, she recalled, alerted neighbors who came out, but as they tried to intervene, he shouted, "This me woman. Y'all stay out of this." They watched on, she related, as he choked and punched her repeatedly to the face. I felt as if my life was leaving my body, but I could not leave my 3 children motherless, so I kept fighting to survive. I had to escape alive. She recounted, garnering enough strength to slide out of his grip, making one last attempt to escape. She ran in desperation, she jumped over a fence and collapsed. A woman, she recalled, upon seeing her condition, ran to get help. Coincidentally, a police patrol was passing by in relation to another incident in the area when that woman summoned them. The patrol's ranks stopped. I couldn't see properly because my face was bloodied, but upon seeing policemen, I begged, "Please help me. Please help me." While begging, she recalled looking back and seeing her attacker coming behind. She said the fear and trauma caused her to get up off the ground and run towards the policeman, grabbing onto someone's hand. I was picked up and placed to sit down in a chair, while the police entered his yard. I saw them speaking with him, and it appeared as if they placed the handcuff on his hands. The ranks returned shortly after with few pieces of her clothing and tossed them at her, she explained. They instructed me to get dressed, and an ambulance subsequently arrived, she said. She was discharged from the hospital a few days later, and has since lodged a report at the Albertown police station. According to a medical she showed news outlets, the woman sustained a fractured rib along with multiple concussions to the head. There were also notable cuts and bruises to her body, along with multiple black and blue marks to her eyes, face and neck. Based on what news outlets was told by her friends, this was the 3rd time they observed the said individual abusing women from the Venezuelan community. 2 had fallen into his trap but had escaped with minor bruises, they said. The woman has since published her story on Facebook, warning other women like herself to be on the lookout for what she sees as a sexual psychopath.